This is Josh Valencia from Good Break Studios, and we're going to check out this new awesome plugin called MicroShift by Soundtoys. It's brand new. It is AAX 64-bit on Windows and Mac and every other format, including RTAS, which is a really neat addition. But before we get started, be sure to follow us at Good Break Studio on Twitter. Check us out on Facebook just by looking us up, Good Break Studios, and check out the website, www.goodbreakstudios.com. Well, what can I start with? Soundtoys has really done something nice here. Little MicroShift, to my ears, wasn't perfect because it was missing some features. Obviously, it was little. Obviously, it was free. By the way, if you do have the free one, it's only $50 to get this version, and let me tell you, it is totally worth it. There's currently no demo out, or I can't find it, but so you kind of have to buy it and take my word for it or anyone else's word for it. But it's totally awesome. Let's go ahead and give it a listen. I'm going to use it on different sources. I'm going to jump around different sessions, so you should see those cuts. I'm going to go ahead and bypass it, and we're going to listen to just electric guitar chugging deal. Now, that was mono. I have nothing going on, just it was just playing. Now I'm just going to go ahead, unbypassed, go to that first preset when you turn on MicroShift. It's right after default. It's acoustic guitar, clean and wide. I know it's not an acoustic guitar. Just bear with me here. Check this out. So, what can I say? This thing is totally awesome. Separated them. Not only that, it sounded like they were getting played in like separately. So it didn't sound like the same parts, just doubled. It separated them. It didn't give that crazy chorusy feel that it was doing before, because there's actually a detune knob, which is sweet. We don't need all that craziness all the time. Sometimes if you need a quick fix, and you do, just put on little MicroShift, less CPU. But this thing right here, it's a special. They're doing some things with this knob. Anyway, let's go ahead and cycle through a couple other presets I liked for electric guitar. Holy Shift is a little wild. Let's go ahead and check that one out. So that one did have a little bit more of a detune, and it did change styles. We'll go over those in a second. But wow, it's nice. This is a really, really nice sounding plugin. It's a little thicker, that Holy Shift. Wide snare slap. They have a whole bunch of presets, not as much as some of the other Soundtoys plugins here. But Reverb Enhancer, I'll check out something. Reverb Nauseator is it's kind of nauseating. It's detunes all the way. Delay is loose. That's more of like a feel when you have this on. We'll go into that in a second too, but just listen to this. So you can hear it right off the bat. Not only is it big and weird and crazy, it's also separate and totally different. There's a little slapback effect going on in the back of my head when I hear this. It moves it across a stereo image in a way that something like an S1 or any other spreader I've heard, this is completely different, because it has a little delay action, the detune factor, the frequency focus, and the mix. Craziness. So let's go ahead and take a deeper look. All right, so let's take a look into what this plugin is actually giving us. We have a mix knob, which lets us blend in the dry signal to the wet signal. Really nice. A focus knob, which if you click up here, lets you dial in which specific frequency you want to MicroShift. So for example, you could set this to an air band, 10K. And what that's going to let you do is it's going to let you detune just that frequency, pan it out really nice and wide, while you're leaving the rest of the signal unprocessed and kind of the same, while giving that high-end sparkle that you're looking for sometimes to set something apart in the mix, which is really nice. If we move over to these styles here, these are the 3 different techniques that Soundtoys chose to use to MicroShift. These 2 are based on the 2 eventide method. So there's we use 2 eventide units. I don't remember the name off the top of my head. This, I believe, is the HC3000 Eventide unit, which kind of had the same effect built in, kind of like the flavor of that one. And then this is an AMS DMX something or other module, box that they used. It's just another sound of a MicroShift. Really neat. Check it out on their website. Look at the old machines. To be honest, I kind of don't care since this is doing the job for me. If we look at this detune here, again, click on it for the percentages. But what this is going to do is that this is going to be the factor at which it's going to detune the sound to give it a little bit of a more chorusy effect, a little bit more shimmery, and depending on which style, this detune acts a little differently, and we'll change the sound in a different way. Then if we go over to delay, this one I could do better by just showing you. It's not a traditional delay, but it kind of is. It's kind of like a slapback-o-meter. So this is a tight slapback, so it's not really slapping back at all. Then you go loose, and it really sounds like it's doubled. So if I'm going to go ahead and play an acoustic guitar part now, we're going to listen to what that's doing. I'm going to start it at tight, and then I'm going to loosen it up for you. So if you really heard there, first of all, when I had this all the way at 10K, it was just doing the air band and nothing else underneath. Once I moved this back, it was doing from this frequency, so 218 hertz, all the way up to 10K is what it was shifting. So that's how that works. In terms of the delay, if you really listened, you could hear that as I had it down to tight, the two parts, granted, they were on either side of my head, but they were playing in unison. And as I loosened it up, they started playing separately, which was actually awesome. These are knobs that weren't here originally, and are just nice to have because it makes them, sound like they're being played in two separate takes, when in reality this is just one mono track I recorded, slapped Decapitator on because that adds some awesome stank, and then I just spread them. So really nice plugin to get on acoustic guitars. Let's switch sessions. In this example, we're actually going to use MicroShift on a vocal, and what I'm going to do is stop talking, cycle through this one vocal take here, and we're going to go through the different presets, and I'm just going to mess with the detune and focus. So as I cycle through these things, so let's go ahead and get that started.
Paint above the colored canopy on the southern spine of...
Before we do that, I'm going to show you what it's like without MicroShift.
Paint above the colored canopy on the southern spine of the 17th, with the water duct running underneath, where I spoke for you, where I spoke for you, where I spoke for you.
All right, let's go ahead and turn on MicroShift and cycle through these presets.
Paint above the colored canopy on the southern spine of the 17th, with the water duct running underneath, where I spoke for you, where I spoke for you, where I spoke for you. Paint above the colored canopy on the southern spine of the 17th, with the water duct running underneath, where I spoke for you, where I spoke for you, where I spoke for you. Paint above the colored canopy on the southern spine of the 17th, with the water duct running underneath, where I spoke for you, where I spoke for you, where I spoke for you. Paint above the colored canopy on the southern spine of the 17th.
Really cool. This one's my favorite.
Paint above the colored canopy on the southern spine of the 17th, with the water duct running underneath, where I spoke for you, where I spoke for you, where I spoke for you. Paint above the colored canopy on the southern spine of the 17th.
With this double, you could really hear how the delay impacts what's going on.
Paint above the colored canopy on the southern spine of the 17th, with the water duct running underneath, where I spoke for you, where I spoke for you, where I spoke for you. Paint above the colored canopy on the 7th spot of the 17th, with the water duct running underneath, where I spoke for you, where I spoke for you, where I spoke for you. Paint above the colored canopy on the 7th spot of the 17th, with the water duct running underneath, where I spoke for you, where I spoke for you, where I spoke for you.
With the lead vocal clarity, you could definitely hear how some of the more sibilant words kind of stood out. This will kind of make it more poppy in a mix. I think in a more subdued mix where it's just more acoustic guitar, this will sound really, really nice.
Paint above the colored canopy on the 7th spot of the 17th, with the water duct running underneath, where I spoke for you, where I spoke for you, where I spoke for you. Paint above the colored canopy on the 7th spot of the 17th, with the water duct running underneath, where I spoke for you, where I spoke for you, where I spoke for you. Paint above the colored canopy on the 7th spot of the...
So those are all the presets that come with it. I think, yeah, we're at the end. Before I let you go, I want you to check this thing out on a synth here. So I'm going to go ahead and solo the Juno, take the vocal out, and see if we can drag this puppy over. All right, I'm going to have to add it again. Give me 1 second here. All right, let's listen to MicroShift on this Juno. This is without. So that's without any MicroShift. Sounds kind of wacky already. Check this out. I'm just going to cycle through a couple of the presets that I liked for synth. So thanks for watching, guys. This is a little bit of a more detailed view, but again, this thing just has 4 knobs, 3 buttons on it. It's a nice plugin, really worth the $50, even worth the $89 if I were getting it without having little MicroShift. So go ahead and jump on it. Again, it's AAX 64-bit and 32-bit on Mac and PC, so it's a win-win if you're on Pro Tools. And if you're not, it's probably on your format already. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.